Good evening, everyone. So today we're going to be discussing the DeCamp, the Jersey Transit takeover of the DeCamp routes. So we're going to take a quick look at the previous system. Now, in practice, what's currently running right this second, well, not really right this second because it's in the evening, but what's running as of today and the last day is going to be tomorrow are the 44, the 99, the 33, the 33G, 33X, and the 66 and its variants. 66R for Roseland and regular 66 to Mississippi Loop. So what happens is that prior to the pandemic, this was basically the DeCamp bus system. To my understanding, there was a number 100 bus, which went from, I don't know, somewhere within the service area to downtown. So if anybody knows where that bus actually started and which parts of New Jersey it served, feel free to reach out and let me know. But so basically, the primary routes were the 33 from West Caldwell, Kirkpatrick Lane, which is the current terminal for the number 71 and 29 buses to Newark. And a few 29s and 71s continue beyond that, but most of them, especially all the off-peak ones, terminate and start at Kirkpatrick Lane. So we have the 33, which basically runs down Bloomfield Avenue to Bloomfield, and then turns up Broad Street and swings over to Route 3 and gets on Route 3 to go to Port Authority. There's the number 66. So the full-time 66 goes to West Orange. So West Orange, Montclair gets on the highway from there. During weekdays, we have some 66 R trips that go to Roseland and also terminate in West Caldwell. We also have some 66. There used to be 66X trips, but those were unfortunately eliminated. So we have the 33, we have the 66, we have the 44, which starts in Bloomfield, goes through Belleville, Newark, specifically mostly Forest Hill, but also a little bit of Upper Roseville, Belleville, North Arlington, Lyndhurst. Then we have the 99, which is like the 44. It's now been reduced to one single trip. Basically goes down to Harrison. So prior to the pandemic, first of all these routes had a lot more frequent service. We also had the number 32 bus, which was the only route that officially allowed local travel. So you could actually take it from Nutley to Union City, or within Nutley and so on. It had a few branches that went up Park Avenue, Route 21, etc. So we also, the 33G, I think, has two trips, and the 33X, I think, has one trip. So that's Grove Street in Montclair. 33X takes 280 to and from, to head further out to, go directly to Verona and part of West Orange. The 66R, it goes to Roseland, and the 88 went to East Orange, with one trip that extended to Orange. So that was the previous system. So ideally, all these routes would carry intrastate riders and provide some direct connectivity between those areas, because right now what happens is that the only route that, well, as of right now, none of them do, because the 32 has been quote unquote temporarily suspended. They never brought it back, along with the 88 and the 66X. But for example, if you're heading out from West Caldwell to the the Brookdale section of Bloomfield or over to Nutley, that 33 can take you directly there, compared to having to take two local buses to to get there. And on Sunday, when the 33 runs and the 709 doesn't run, because the 72 actually runs further east. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to get there. You probably, you either have to walk from the 72 or you have to go all the way to Broadway and take the 13 up or something like that. Um, yeah, so the same thing, West Orange to Montclair, right now, you have like the 34 that ends in um, Montclair coming from Point South. You have the 28, which comes from Upper Montclair and then swings down and turns onto Bloomfield Avenue, but you don't have anything that goes directly between, West Orange and Montclair. And actually, the 34, for that matter, swings off to East Orange. And yeah, that area by Mississippi Loop is covered by the number 21 bus. So you have to walk to the 97 bus, but that doesn't run on Sunday. And that also ends in Montclair, so that doesn't get you to Points North. So the same thing with the 44. For those of us who want to go to, for example, shopping at the Lidl at in Belleville over by the water, we have to basically take the 27 or one of the Bloomfield Avenue buses over to the 13 and then go over there and walk. And coming from the store when you have your groceries, the walk is uphill. So that would be nice to be able to take one direct bus, but unfortunately that's not the case because that bus will get you to Manhattan and it'll pass right by and it's not going to let you off. And the same thing, you'll come home from the supermarket or whatever it is, and you can't get on the bus. So, the same thing, the 88, even though it doesn't run right now, but it would be nice to be able to get from East Orange all the way up to Bloomfield with no or Upper Bloomfield, Brookdale area, without having to transfer. And also just generally supplement the existing local bus service. It could supplement the 94. So if you're trying to get from Glenwood Avenue and you're trying to get down to East Orange, whether it's to connect to the eastbound train, the westbound train, you would have another option. Same thing with the 33. The 29 runs out to the far end of Bloomfield, but even if you're running in the area where it's covered by the 29, you could take the 29 or the 33 to get over to the train at Montclair or one of those yeah, basically Montclair, Glenridge, Bloomfield, whatever's, more convenient for your particular timing and trip. So New Jersey Transit's going to come over and take those routes over. But unfortunately, at least initially, they're not going to be providing any off-peak service. So they're literally going to run just a few trips in the morning, a few trips in the afternoon, and call it a day. But hopefully, they get, good ridership and they'll increase the service and hopefully add back the off-peak service. I think part of it is, they even though they DeCamp announced it on, February 14th, when they might have had enough time to, officially incorporate it into the pick, nobody really made a big deal of it until the end of March. I believe it was like March 20th or so that the New York Times article and all those other news articles, came out regarding the lack of service in Montclair. Well, or all those other, well, DeCamp is based out of Montclair, but the lack of DeCamp service basically. So we see here we have the Jersey Transit plan for their temporary, I guess, emergency plan. To cover this, at least most of the service areas. So we have the 191D, which is supposed to provide alternate service for most of DeCamp's Route 66 customers. The 192, which covers the 33 customers in Bloomfield. The 195D, which covers the 33 customers on the western end in West Caldwell, and Verona. And the 199D, which covers the 44 customers in part of Newark, Belleville, North Arlington, Lyndhurst. So we have the interactive service map. GIS, West Essex Emergency Service. And this is overlaid with all the, let's see, I guess the rail lines and some of the local lines. Um, Here is actually, and I like this one better. So this one shows pretty much all the Jersey Transit local lines as well as the rail lines. So we see how this plays out. This 191D in pink represents the 66, the DeCamp 66. The 33, the 33G is eliminated, but the 33 regular is covered by the 192D. The 33 regular in which I guess if you want to call it, oh boy, if you want to call it the um if you want to call it the 33X, if you want to call it, because it does stay on Route 3 for a little bit longer, it appears. Um yeah, this is the western part of the 33, and then the 199D represents the 44, the old 44. So the 99 is not um even though Jersey Transit actually has a 99, this kind of runs from Newark to Hillside with a couple of trips to like Clifton and everything like that. Um, but I think Belleville Avenue. Um, but anyway, the um, yeah. So those on the southern end, they're gonna have to either take the Easy Ride 232 bus from um, North Arlington down to Harrison, or they could take the number 30 bus to Newark Penn Station, or they can, walk to the number 40 bus, depending on where exactly they're coming from, or the 76. Um, so the 40 goes to Harrison, the 30 and the 76 go to Newark Penn. Um, Actually, the 30 doesn't even go to Newark Penn. The 30 goes during the weekday daytime hours. It goes to Lincoln Park. So um, it's only after 7 o'clock and on the weekends that it runs to Newark Penn. But anyway, you have to take a local bus to the path, or you have to take the 189D. You have to make your way up one way or another with a local bus or walking or driving, whatever the case may be. Um, so the other thing is that the 44 does not cover, or rather, the 199D does not cover this section um, along Heller Parkway and Franklin Street west of Mount Prospect Avenue. So, as the name implies, Forest Hill is on a hill, and the bus doesn't go up the hill, basically. So, you have to walk to Mount Prospect if you want the direct bus to Manhattan. Um, well, either that or take the number 27. Um, and the same thing for the 33. I mean, this one, at least, there's pretty frequent local bus service along Bloomfield Avenue, so that's not super hard to get. And it's also most areas are generally covered, so you have Glen Ridge, Montclair, you're either walking distance to the train, walking distance to um, to the 191D, or walking distance to the 192D for the most part. But for anybody else who, can't walk it, you can just take the local bus. Yeah, the service is pretty frequent along Bloomfield Avenue. Although ideally there would still be some kind of direct express bus, but um, the big concern is, along Eagle Rock Avenue, you have to take one of the West Orange shuttles, which is not really designed to connect um, with the bus, but more so it's designed to connect with the train. So depending on the thing, some of them go to Orange or East Orange for the number 6 shuttle. You could also take the number 71 bus run by New Jersey Transit. That one, the Jitney, I think, is free, if I remember correctly. And Jersey Transit, they accept, transfers and monthly passes and things like that for the 71. Um, so you have to make your way over to the 66 or whatever, stay on the bus and continue to the train. Okay, Okay, so we have those. Yeah, unfortunately, Nutley, as much as it was annoying, I saw an article that said like, oh, the 192D covers Nutley, but that barely covers any more of Nutley than the existing service that goes to Clifton Commons and all that. So what they really need is something resembling the old 32. Maybe even a branch of the 199 or something like that that goes down like Center Street and across, especially because in the Newark bus redesign, the 13 north of the Big Tree Garage is proposed to be eliminated. So, um, that area is going to have no real crosstown service. So, um, that should definitely be considered to be kept. So we have the one night. So the other big thing is, yeah, with Jersey Transit, the local riders are able to be carried. So you can take the bus actually in this case, from West Caldwell over to, Allwood Park and Ride, or Clifton Commons. That would actually be a good. So let's see, we have the 195, which, yep, okay, yeah. So, if you do work at Clifton Commons, for something somewhat resembling a standard shift, you can actually use mass transit to get directly there from West Caldwell, which is good. So 5:25, you'll get there at 6 o'clock. So if you start sometime around 8, 9 o'clock, you can get there. And then if you finish, first bus out is 4:54. In other words, you can basically work a 9 to 5-ish shift. If you work at the mall, or if you're going, shopping after work or whatever it is, you know, uh, you could take any bus that goes to Clifton Commons, 192, 199, whatever it is, and then take the 195D to get straight home to Verona, Caldwell, West Caldwell. So that's good. We see on the thing with the fares that the fares, well, they're given here. One-way ticket 450, monthly pass 148 for zone 3, $6 for one way, 167 zone 4, $7 for a one-way and 199 for zone 5 for a monthly, and $8 one-way, 235 monthly for zone 6. We actually see Jersey Transit compare the cost to what DeCamp used to offer, and we see it's basically cheaper every single time. Not, you know, whatever, about, let's say, 25% cheaper depending on the things. So 6 to 680, that's, um, $6 to 450, that's 25% cheaper. 680 is going to be more than 25%, but 905 to $8, that's going to be something less. That's going to be 11% cheaper and everything like that. But the monthly passes are cheaper as well. And the big thing is that they're also valid for interstate trips. They're also valid on other routes. They're also valid for, local service. They're also, you could, there's definitely a lot more flexibility. So hopefully that'll gain some ridership over there. So the big thing is that they need to have the off-peak service brought back. So as we see right here, yeah, they basically took the rush hour trips from 33.66, 44.99, and basically just, tried to replicate more or less the frequency that they run. So the 191D, we see it's roughly every half hour, you know, uh, it varies obviously. 6:25 to 6:45 is a 20-minute gap, 7:40 to 8:25 is a 45-minute gap. Similar for the evening, right around 5 o'clock, it runs every 20 minutes, and towards the beginning and end of the rush hour, it runs every 45 minutes. 192D, same thing, roughly every 30 to 60 minutes. 195D is basically once an hour. 199D is once an hour in the morning, and it has a brief period of. This is actually supposed to kind of replicate so right now the times on the 44 leaving Port Authority are 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30. But there's a 44 that leaves at 5 o'clock. So they kind of combine the 5 o'clock 44 and the 5:30 99. Sorry, the 5 o'clock 99 and the 5 o'clock 99 and the 5:30 44, and make that into a 5:20 trip, and then after that they kind of just shift everything back by a half hour. But definitely they should be having off-peak service, weekend service, the and hopefully, it does catch on. Um, so yeah, and those are basically your alternatives for the DeCamp, for at least rush hour service for DeCamp routes. Now off peak, as mentioned, you're pretty much going to have to make do with the existing buses that run off peak. So if you live in the outskirts of Bloomfield Avenue, you're going to have to take the 29 over to um, either Montclair, Glenridge, or Bloomfield for the Montclair Boonton line, or all the way to Newark Broad, where you get the Morrison Essex line, or depending on if it's before 7, after 7, you can get to Newark Penn. For all the trains that are available there, Northeast Corridor, PATH train, etc. For the 66, you'll have to take the 34 up to Montclair, and then probably walk over to Bay Street for the Montclair Boonton line, or you'll have to take it the other direction to Newark Penn and take whatever train you want to take from there, Northeast Corridor, North Jersey Coastline, PATH train, etc. 21, if you live right by Mississippi Loop, your bus to Newark is actually the 21. So Broad Street, you would take the 72 to either Newark Broad or Newark Penn, or walk over to, the bus stop isn't right next to the Bloomfield station, but it is just a couple of blocks away. Or you would have to backtrack up to by the Stop and Shop and take the 192, 199, or really off peak would just be the 192 basically, to get to New York City. What else? Yeah, Valley Road for Montclair, you would either, well, if it's weekday off peak, you could take the Montclair Boonton line, but if it's on the weekend, you would have to take the 28 and then take something from there, either the Montclair Boonton line or the Morrison Essex line for Broad Street, or depending on I mean, you could also walk from Broad and Raymond over to Newark Penn if you had to. But yeah, it's more convenient when evenings and Sundays when it runs to Newark Penn. So what else? For the 44, well, first of all, right now it only runs weekdays, but not weekends, but it does run off peak weekdays. You would have to take well, first of all, if you live on the western part of Franklin Street and Heller Parkway, you would have to basically take the light rail over to Newark Penn and then take something from there, either Northeast Corridor, North Jersey Coastline, or PATH. For Mount Prospect, you would basically have to take the 27 to Newark Broad Street, or walk from like Broad and Raymond or Broad and Market over to Newark Penn. If you live over by Broadway, you do the same thing, but with the 13. Unfortunately, there's nothing on Belleville Turnpike at all, so basically your next bus over are the routes along Ridge Road in Kearney, North Arlington. So you'd have to take one of those to get to the PATH, or take the 76 to get up to Kingsland or Rutherford. And then what else? Yeah, so those are basically, oh yeah, for Montclair, Upper Montclair, if depending on the thing, you might be walking distance of the 191, or if you live west of the tracks. I don't know if how well the roadway connects, but maybe some of the parts are walking distance to, let me see, Ridgewood Ave, Upper Montclair. Yeah, it's not really super walkable to get to from Ridge Road over to like Valley Road. But yeah, the 195 and 191 would be your general alternatives. And then during the weekdays, the Montclair Booten line goes up to MSU on a regular basis. And so that's basically it. So those are your alternatives. Um, hopefully, like I said, hopefully they actually give full service back. Even if it's these routes, well, first of all, I think something should definitely run down Eagle Rock Avenue because under the under the Newark bus redesign, they're going to have a local route that runs along Eagle Rock Avenue, but it's not going to go up to Caldwell and West Caldwell like the 71 does. So for intrastate riders, that's going to be helpful if you can get a local bus that does that. If you can have an intrastate bus, even if it comes from Manhattan, but for intrastate riders trying to get along Eagle Rock Avenue, it would help. I mean, for that matter, it would also help, people get to and from those commercial areas, Essex Mall and, things like that. Um, and then ideally, yeah, the something resembling the 32 would come back and something resembling the old 88 would come back. Maybe an extension of the 192D to East Orange, or even Orange. Um, so yeah, hopefully we can get some improvement, but at least we have a bare minimum amount of service, which is good. But we have to keep pushing until we get the full amount. So that'll be all for now, and have a good night.